Welcome to Yachting International Radio. You're with Corrine Rayson from the Crew Coach on the Wellbeing Project. Today, we're going to talk about all things leadership, my favorite topic. And we have one of our students from the Advanced Leadership course with us, Steph. And before I go any further, I'm going to hand it over to you, Steph, if you want to do a quick intro in terms of how long you've been working in the industry for and your position, and perhaps why you decided to do a leadership course, because it's not mandatory for interior.
So my name's Steph. I have been in the industry for 10 years, but obviously being yachty, like traveling, so on and off in there as well, interspersed with some travel. And I'm a purser on a 90-meter boat. I think what interested me about doing the leadership course was building strategies and being able to apply them to help my crew through difficult times, and also myself, because a lot of these things are not necessarily innately known, but really allow you to become so much better as a leader. And so, yeah, just building those skills is really what encouraged me in being able to help my crew out when they might be experiencing difficult or challenging times.
Fantastic. And just feedback from other pursers, I find that they tend to have a lot of crew knocking on their door, and they are that safe space because they are a little bit separate to the interior team. You're doing more admin work and you're less on the floor per se. Do you find that yourself as well?
It's funny that you say that, because yesterday I had one of the girls come in and say something. And I, from time to time, help in the service department of service part when we have guests, and we've just finished a 7-week trip, and it wasn't someone that I would normally find coming to me. And I think just for me, actually having that time with her on service every few days actually encouraged her coming to me. I think she normally would go to her other friends. So sometimes I actually find that what you're saying is exactly what happens. And then sometimes I think that removal also doesn't really bring that relationship into the realm that I felt like I wanted it to, where I wanted to be, to create that connection. So I think I experience it in both ways.
Okay, great. And in terms of areas of growth for you since doing the course, what would you say they have been?
Oh, definitely conflict. I have really reframed my idea around conflict. I used to, I'm going to say the word shy away, but it wasn't that I intentionally shied away. I just actually didn't know that there were skills that you could employ to be better at resolving conflict, really. I probably had, a bit of a naive understanding of what conflict was. And it's really reframed my thinking about it. And now I feel a lot more confident to go in and speak to someone. Having two words that have really stuck with me are transformational and also being curious.
Yes.
And those two things have really, really helped me be able to apply what I have learned and actually actively go into things now that are deemed something that would create some conflict, or if conflict just comes at me, I feel a lot more prepared for it.
Fabulous. And I heard that you got positive feedback right at the beginning of the course from, I don't know if it was the captain, could have been, but there was a situation, and do you feel comfortable in sharing a little bit about that?
I can't even remember which one it was now. It's been so long, but I do remember saying to Jules, oh my gosh, I had such a positive experience with the captain. So
Long time
if
ago.
you could refresh my memory, yeah, I do remember there was a
I
couple
don't
of
know
times
to do
where,
with an engineer.
oh yeah, that one wasn't really as positive as I was hoping. But just his acceptance of leadership was really a really great thing to actually see talking to him. When I started the course, I think I had a fear around him not really taking it. We have a couple of captains, and I had a fear around not feeling like they may have felt that it was very useful. And I just remember dropping in a few times when I was trying to see about funding for the course as well. He actually really, after a few conversations about what I was learning or experiences I'd had where I'd been able to employ it, he was really great at going to the management company and really saying that it was an essential skill that we were building here. And yeah, he seemed quite interested and definitely had a way more open idea about it after I'd started the course than I would have ever expected, to the point that when I did the questionnaire about my leadership, yes, I would just not have ever emailed that to him at the start of this course. Not that he's scary, not that anything, I just didn't know that that was something he necessarily valued as much. And yeah, within the time I sent mine quite a lot later than it actually comes through the course, just because of the fact that we're on trip. And not only did he respond, but he was really like, yep, absolutely, which I just wouldn't have had the courage to do, and B, have expected him to be as open to. So that was really nice.
That's amazing. So in terms of feedback, I know you've just literally finished a guest trip, a 7.5-week trip, I believe. What have you done differently, and has anyone noticed a change?
I don't know if they've noticed a change as much. Actually, one person definitely would have, in some respects. But what I have done is being able to employ a lot of the activities, whether or not it's been in a group way, or, as I said, I do some service on here as well. So I might bring up whatever the activity was and just do it with people that are around me while doing dishes, and just start a conversation. And I've had, all the girls that I work with have all expressed interest in, can we do more leadership things when we're finished? And they're really, really excited about it. So it's really encouraged me, because there is a lot of content where it's like, try this activity, try this workshop, which has just not been available to us during the trip. But it's great. I want to do Friday afternoons now after lunch, just leadership afternoons, and go through all of those workshops, because I really saw in the few little tasks that I was able to get up there, I saw so much encouragement from them, to be able to bring them and give that idea of developing each other and learning about each other and learning about themselves. And every time I say we've got to do this values workshop, well, not got to do, I want to, that I have it planned in for when we get back to land in a week, they're all really looking forward to it. So it's really nice to know that me actually going forth and doing this leadership training has encouraged them. And also my second stew, I was talking to her the other day, what courses would you like to do next? Where would you like to go? And she had some great ideas about coffee courses or spirit courses and all these sorts of things. And we just had a talk about, she's now in this leadership position and it's only going to grow. She's not going to go backwards. And it was really good to have a conversation with her and see that she had picked up from what I had been doing, a real enthusiasm for giving it a go herself and seeing how she could apply it to herself as she progresses through her career.
It sounds like the course has had a ripple effect. So it's not just about you and your leadership journey and growth, but it has inspired the rest of your team. And that's the beauty of it, is it's paying it forward. So through acquiring new knowledge and skills, you're giving a gift back to the team. And it's so lovely to hear. I know these workshops are so popular. Um, and just feedback back from a previous chief stew where she's run a workshop and the crew call it their therapy sessions, and they ask for it every Thursday to run a workshop. But we don't focus on soft skills. Like, imagine if we had no training around receiving and delivering feedback, which we have to do all the time in our jobs as the people feedback. And it really primes them to be more accepting and less fearful of feedback. And that forms part of a culture on board. And that's probably something that vessels don't talk about, is what sort of culture do we want to have on board, and what are the values that we want to subscribe to? Because it's all very well having your values on the wall in organizations as they do and say, well, we stand for this, but then you don't see it on the floor, and then there's a disconnect. It's a waste of time for it to be on the wall. So I think that's super, super inspiring.
Yeah, what I like about it, I guess, is I've had all this learning, albeit as I said, sort of I've done it alongside our summer trip, and it gives me the opportunity to go through the course again. I'll just start with all the goal setting at the start, just keep going through all the modules and see what I can bring to the crew. So I kind of get to do it twice, which is really nice. And also the learning will be instilled more, and also it just keeps giving back. A lot of courses, you kind of do them and then it's like, okay. I feel really encouraged, not only by my crew, but also by myself, to be able to go back and do it. It's not normally at the end of a course, even my degree, I was like, yep, cool, great. I'm not interested in that ever again. But there's something about this, because it's a skill that you continue to learn. And I mean, even we had, what was the animal totem? I think it was. Yeah. And I had the deck crew coming and like, Steph, we want to know what animal we are. So I'm sure as I start instilling this in the interior, it's going to start coming in. The communication from the interior will go out, and then I might find that people want to come in, which is my hope. I don't want to force people at all. I'd rather them feel like they wanted to come into it. The chief officer on here a couple of times, I said, I should do a course like that. Again, I'm not going to push anyone, but if I do these things and the people come, that's really the best reward for me.
Absolutely. Now, you did the course, or are doing the course, with the chief officer. What is that experience like for you?
I've really enjoyed it. So there's just two of us, which is kind of nice, because you get a lot more opportunity to understand what's going on, and although it's digitally, build a bit more of a connection. And it's been really nice. I think I said to Jules the other day, I've really enjoyed that it's with a male. We had a conversation around the fact that these types of courses are really heavily female full, and having him in there has been really great. You get a really different perspective of how, you've got that yin and yang almost, I guess you would say, where there's that female empathetic sort of style, and then he is really amazing at being totally okay with conflict, which I am not. So now thanks to the course but that's been a really nice thing for me to see his conversations carried out with Jules, and how she'll say, that's a really great thing, which I wouldn't have actually even had the guts to do before. So it's like, great, like if you get you listen to his feedback and apply it to yourself as well, which is really good.
And that's it's exactly what it is. It's a collective learning experience, and with doing the group coaching. And what I find through my own learning journey is that the content seems to stick. It becomes more real, rather than just watching video content and reading piles of PDFs. I think this is more of an experiential experience, which is, it's nice to have the balance, I think.
Absolutely. Like I genuinely, except for today, I've messaged Jules. I
Yeah.
always look forward to the calls, but we're going to see today. It's supposed to be really rough, so I'm not looking forward to that one. I said I might just join with my microphone on and run to to vomit every few minutes. But
Oh
it's really
no.
nice. I really look forward to those calls because there's a lot of learning and connection, and you've got someone else, especially someone else from another yacht, who's having a completely different experience from you,
Mm,
but also so similar because you could continually put yourself in their shoes and go,
yes.
I know how hard that is, or what that feels like, or how much that sucks for you right now. And it brings, I did a Purser course, but you do that I did it online, very solo.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, doing something with someone else yeah, I feel like I've gotten a lot out of it, more out of it, just because I have been in this group, although it's only been two of us, this group environment.
Brilliant. So I know the course isn't cheap.
Mm.
It's an expensive course. Well, firstly, what helped you get over the fence in terms of making that decision for yourself, that investment for yourself, and looking at what you have learned so far and comparing it to the price, has it been worth it for you?
Absolutely, because it's just going to keep giving. Um, I feel like, I mean, you're building a lot of life skills as well in it. And they're things that we don't, and again, we're not taught, and you kind of just assume that people innately know. And I'll put my hand up that I don't. And, or it solidifies for you your thinking as well, which is nice because even, you sometimes find yourself questioning your thinking and not sure if you're doing it the right way or is this the way to do it. And so, yeah, I don't have a problem with the price at all because I feel like this is something I'm going to take almost to the grave. And
Yeah.
you can apply it in any area where you live and work. When I leave yachting, my next career, I'll obviously go back down to one of the junior people. And I, I find myself often thinking when I go in, I've already got these skills that I've just learned from being a leader, but now I'm bringing these in so that I don't have to navigate a new career path and go, what does he mean by that? And this and that and the other. You've already built these skills in to be able to communicate with people and to talk with them and to be able to just resolve conflict. And so all
Mm.
of that sort of stuff can be applied no matter where I end up. So yeah, no, absolutely no problem with the price of it at all.
Wow, amazing. Yeah, I know when I left the industry, I thought, oh my gosh, I've got to study another degree because no one's going to employ me on my yachting CV. But I know
Yeah.
through obviously writing this course, the content that it provides and how you can implement it to sell yourself and add
Mm,
value to your land-based position because
mm.
it's evergreen. It's not something that's not specifically yachting related.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not.
Oh,
Yeah, which I have. Yeah, I've found myself, as I said, thinking a lot about how I am able to apply this for the rest of my life, which is, yeah, not necessarily something. And very often I've done a degree which I can apply every so often, but I don't really recognize it. Whereas so often already, without even completing the course yet, I have found myself applying this multiple times in a day. And just even things like feedback, I didn't actually actively realize how often we're giving each other or receiving feedback until I did this course. And now all these little flags come up, and you say, oh, yeah, and we've just finished stress management. And you don't realize that that is necessarily something that you are doing as a leader. So some of these things are just being highlighted, and you're like, oh, yeah, actually, I am doing that. You're building all these soft skills so often. And so it's nice to actually have it written there in front of you. You're like, oh, that's actually something that you just bring in as a leader, but you don't realize that you ever had to. It's not like someone wrote that down as part of the job description.
totally. Yes. Do you do hiring at all? Just
Yes.
interested in, you do.
Yeah.
Have you covered that section yet?
I have, and I found that really, really useful. There's something that still sticks out for me with that, which was saying that you shouldn't hire to sell the boat, which is, come and take our job. It's great. Like, we only have them on for this part of the year and it's very chill and all of these sorts of things. And funnily enough, probably a week before we did that part of the course, I was talking to my chief officer on board, and he was saying, do you find that in interviews you talk all the time? And I was like, yeah. Because I think, again, it's one of those things that you're expected to do, but it's not really ever taught. And if I pulled it back, I'm selling the boat. Come and work for us. Come and work for us. But really, that's that time to figure out who the person is.
Yes.
And I always hire in the way of like, do I get on with this person? Because generally most of the positions I'm hiring for are junior stewardesses. So the job can sort of be taught. So I'm looking for personality. But the questions that you had through behavioural questioning were so useful, because I started to see how much more I can get out of those times. I kind of understood what I was looking for on a surface level, but I didn't ever understand that there was so many questions that you can be asking to really apply to the boat, and then not actually sit there talking and selling the boat as much as using the time to be really useful for you.
Fantastic. Oh my gosh, so much great learning there. I could talk to you forever. I feel like now I'm going through every single module and asking you all the questions. But Stephanie, I know you've got to run. Thank you so much for your time and sharing your experience with us, because I know everyone's experience is certainly unique. And I also know the bonds that you form in your particular intake and group. As a facilitator for my very last intake before having a baby, I cried. I didn't expect it to happen, but I burst into tears to say goodbye. And I'm sure that you have that special bond with Jules too. And I guess you're also building your network of professionals within the industry, which is so helpful. And you get invited to the alumni group, and you get to meet more people who are like-minded in terms of the leadership aspect. And we continue to share resources. So it's a great group to be part of.
Great. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm happy that the journey doesn't just end with the learning and then what we do on board. And I'm happy. It's nice to be able to share that whatever we do with people at the end, it'll be nice to just keep it going, which, as I said before, I'm so into just that is done, shelve it, never think about it again. And actually, keep applying it. And the like-minded person thing absolutely gets my soul lit. So,
amazing. Well, thanks for your time, Steph, and wishing you all the best.
Thank you so much, Corinne.